Hello and welcome to Rock Paper Shotgun. This is Matthew Castle and I'm joined by...
Colm Ahern.
Fantastic. And Colm, in my best Jurassic Park voice, I'm going to say, welcome to Norwich.
Oh my god, look, it looks so amazing. So what is this land of whimsy?
This is Norwich, circa Vikings, because I don't know the official year. This is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which you'll know all about if you watched my video from earlier in the week. But today, I wanted to show you some of the game and talk you through some ways that I think Assassin's Creed Valhalla is better than Odyssey and Origins that came before it. I thought I'd start it in Norwich, not because this is one of the improvements, although being in Norwich automatically improves most things, because this is an important place in Castle's history. This is where my parents met.
Oh, really? Okay.
I would not exist without Norwich. I used to go on holidays in East Anglia, but you can see that it was much nicer when I went compared to how it is in Viking times. But enough nostalgia. The first thing I want to point out is the rush and bash ability, which I fell madly in love with, and I think is way better than the Spartan kick, which was like the big signature move from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Did you play Odyssey, Colm?
Not loads. The larger Assassin's Creed games, I found hard to get on with them, to be honest. However, it reminds me a little bit of the roadie run in Gears of War. It has that sort of energy about it.
To me, it feels like the team behind this game maybe talked to the team behind For Honor and went, well, how do you get a bit of weight? How do you get a presence in the game? You know, the way the kind of camera pulls in on it and you chuck them against the walls. It's incredibly overpowered. I mean, I basically used it to destroy two boss characters. One was like the big boss at the end of a mission, and two wallops into the wall, and he was just dead.
What?
Yeah, I know.
You can use this on bosses as well.
Yeah, it feels a little bit broken in that regard, but in a kind of way that I appreciated, because... well, you know, I love to cheese bosses. And this guy here, who is he's called a Fallen Drenga. He's like an ultra-hard warrior that you're meant to give an honourable death by fighting him in his pond. Once I walloped him against the wall a couple of times, I was basically eating through his health bar like I eat through Toblerone, which is to say quite fast, and also feeling a bit bad about it. But one of the big problems I had with Odyssey, and I don't know if you felt this, was that the combat felt very light and lacking in impact.
A lot of the modern Assassin's Creed games, have they not hung their hat on a more heavier, deliberate type of Dark Souls combat? Yeah,
they went that way in Origins and Odyssey, but I never really felt they delivered on it. You know, they had a bit of sort of stamina management. It was about dodging and sort of ducking out the way. It basically got rid of the invincible counter kills, which defined Assassin's Creed combat up until that point. It felt like you were chopping at a health bar, not a person. Here, whether it's just a splash of blood or the occasional head popping off, it just actually feels like you're chopping into a bit of flesh.
Is that down to the animations, the sounds?
They're just a bit more reactive. There's a big focus on knocking people to the ground. Like, people will trip and stumble. They've got a sort of a defense bar, and when you break that, you can basically do an instant kill.
Right.
But you can also just knock them to the ground with normal attacks and do an instant kill. There's a sense of slight kind of muddiness. Not like there's literal mud on the ground, obviously, but there's a slight muddiness to the combat in terms of what does what. There's actually a really good video I'm going to link to in the description on another channel, Boomstick Gaming, and he used his time with the demo to kind of really dig into like how the combos work, how the dual weapons work, and you can see that it's fairly sophisticated step up from Odyssey.
But on the topic of weapons and combat and whatever else, there's dual wielding in this Assassin's Creed, isn't there?
You can have basically any combination of weapons from two axes to you can literally have two shields if you want. I didn't get a second shield, so I wasn't able to.
Oh, what? Why didn't you play it with like a super Captain America? That would be phenomenal.
Yeah, it's like double. It's like two Steve Rogers stitched together. Whatever's in your offhand then gets like a special kind of heavy attack, but that attack itself can change based on what you have in the other hand. So if you have two axes and you use the offhand weapon, you can do like a double chopping thing with two of them. If it's just one axe, that's when you get this quick chop, chop, chop. I think there's going to be a lot of fun discovering the combos. On the subject of weapons, another thing I really like, in fact probably the main thing which improves this over Odyssey, is that this game has unique loot. So you are not picking up 8,000 swords after every battle, looking for a sword which has a point more damage on it. All the weapons are named, you can upgrade them, but this is such an important change because I was constantly going back to the equipment screen in Odyssey. Oh, I need a better pair of knees. Oh, I need a better hat.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, well, yeah, tell me about it. Lots of things would then have like this gives you 3% assassin's damage, or it gives you 4% strength. It was like doing kind of maths on the back of a fag packet. I really, really hated it. I mentioned there how in Odyssey stats had a big impact on stealth. Here, stealth feels a bit purer. It feels a bit more like the old games. For one, you have Odin Sight, which acts a bit like the old Eagle Vision, like you can literally highlight enemies to make sneaking around a lot easier. You don't just have to spot them with a bird, which was always a pain. There's a few more things like canned animations, kind of pulling people behind walls and things, which I don't really remember in Odyssey. In Odyssey, all I ever seemed to do was look at people's health bar to see if statistically I could assassinate them. Here, it's suggested you just can. If you've got the knife, you can assassinate a normal soldier. If someone's stronger than you in power level, you need to unlock this advanced assassination, which is this like little stabbing minigame. If you sneak up on someone and assassinate them, you will assassinate them. It's much more like the Hidden Blade as it was before we went open, like big open world in Origins.
Yeah, because the Assassin's Creed series has definitely taken a turn since Origins and since they've embraced the RPG-ness of the series.
Lots of comments under our video are like, this looks great, but why do they call it Assassin's Creed? You know, it's just a Viking RPG.
And typically, Vikings aren't known for being, you know, sneaky and delicate. But you're saying the stealth in this is actually improved on the two previous big RPG open worlds? Definitely,
like, simpler and cleaner in a way that I like. Weirdly, like a lot of what I did in the demo was very action focused, and it's only been reading other interviews and seeing other people play it that stealth actually is a bit more viable than I thought. Eivor will be able to put on a hood to kind of enter, you know, cities full of Saxons or whatever. So there's a bit of the social stealth from the old games, like blending in with the crowds. They've suggested that they'll be bringing back the crowds of the monks who used to walk around who you could blend in with.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Also, I did the raids in a very aggressive way. I'd blow a little trumpet. It's not trumpet. Horn. And they're like, oh, here come the Vikings. With what the hell is that infernal metal device in his mouth? Yes, I did the raids with my Viking horn and it was all very aggressive. And I couldn't really see how they would be stealth because fundamentally I had a boat full of dudes with me and it was like, you can't be like, shh, to all of them. But you can sneak around the outside, you can pick people off, you can break into the locations that you are trying to rob. There's a lot of locked doors and you have to kill people to get the keys. But one way around that is a lot of them will have like a second door and you can shoot the lock from the other side to kind of break in.
Yeah, that seems way more involved stealth-wise than some of the previous games.
Another thing I really liked is how the game handles side activities, but they've basically boiled everything down to like mysteries and wealth and secrets, these three quite broad categories, and you just go toward dots on the map, and when you get to that dot, it'll be one of the wealth activities or one of the mystery activities like scanning rocks for hidden symbols or building a little pile of rocks. You get to build cairns. You kick them over in most games. But I like the fact that just looking at the map, it wasn't just a sea of different icons. It felt a bit simpler. It felt a bit cleaner. You know, it doesn't just endlessly generate side nonsense, which Odyssey often did because there was so many steps to everything, you know, clearing out the region to trigger the kind of conquest war, and there were cultists to hunt down, and there were secret materials which would then unlock something else. Like, there were just too many different things I was trying to collect, and it felt incredibly video gamey as a result.
Are the things you're collecting actually meaningful, though?
They've done something interesting with skills in this game, in that you have to find them as books to learn them in the world. It's treasure that gives you a really tangible reward, which was actually something that they introduced in the Fate of Atlantis DLC in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. They had ability enhancements that you could find on the map, and I really like the idea of, oh, well, this thing is, you know, literally going to change you forever. It's going to make your bird be able to attack people, or it's going to improve those throwing axes, because the more of the books you find, the individual skills also level up. And I mentioned the skill tree there, that's also improved in that you unlock these little stat boosts here instead of through like weapon engravings. Just feels a lot cleaner to me. Finally, something I really liked story-wise was that Eivor isn't this like lone wolf mercenary. He's the leader of this little Viking clan that's come from Norway to England to make a new home. Even in this demo, which was a self-contained region, you know, you saw like his mates in the cutscenes. It felt like you had established relationships. It felt like those relationships were changing. I mean, literally in the case of you've got this mate here who kind of propositions you at a party and you can sleep with him if you want.
Ooh.
And then there's this very awkward mini-game where you have to try and remember his name afterwards.
Oh, very good. I like that.
Yeah. Like the wider game is going to have a settlement a bit, which sounds a bit like the homestead in Assassin's Creed 3. But even out and about, it feels like you've got a group of characters with you. You've definitely got your Viking helpers when you raid stuff. And one of the things that kind of prevents Odyssey from really ticking the RPG box for me is exactly that. Like, there's no sense of kind of companions. There's no sense of you being part of this wider group. You got the people on your boat, but they didn't really register with me. I don't think I could name any of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Generally across the board, I'd say Assassin's Creed Valhalla feels much lighter on its feet. You don't have to worry about mercenaries and bounty hunters hunting you down because you stole something and someone saw you.
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot about them, yeah.
There's none of that, and like when you synchronize on a high location, it shows you the names of nearby towns, like when you look at them, and it just gives it a bit more context. That's quite nice. I like that sort of sense of place. You know, even walking around East Anglia, which is not the most exciting of counties. Like,
ouch to East Anglia.
listen, I'm not wailing on East Anglia. I had many happy memories there, but it's not the most geographically complex of regions, shall we say. It's mainly like flat mud with the occasional castle.
Beautiful.
It feels a bit like The Witcher 3 to me. It's quite like Velen from the start of The Witcher 3. The fact that you are exploring like ruined castles and things, that feels a bit more fantasy to me. And maybe it's just a fantasy setting that I personally dig more than the Greek setting or the Egyptian setting. It just feels a bit more grounded in a way that I really like. I'm really, really excited for this one. Not least because I get to go to Norwich and maybe kill my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, which would, be bad news for me.
I was just going to say, it would mean that you wouldn't be here having this chat with me or playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and by the sounds of it, that's exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, I am excited to play more of this one. It comes out on the 17th of November on PC and other consoles. If you did enjoy this chat about Valhalla, do let us know in the comments. Do give us a like as well. We much appreciate that. If you have any questions about what I saw in the game, do pop those in the comments as well. And please do watch our videos on Watch Dogs Legion, which Cullen played while I was playing Valhalla, so he can talk us through that. He can show you some of the mad characters and tell us whether or not it delivers an accurate London. The answer may surprise you, he said in true clickbait fashion. Anyway, that's quite enough of me, so I'm going to say goodbye, and hopefully Cullen will too.
Bye.
And we will hopefully see you again soon. Bye for now.